Navigating the Human Condition. Exploring psychosis, narcissism, and nothingness. Within the realm of human existence, individuals navigate various paths in their pursuit of meaning and self-understanding. Three distinct ways of being emerge as responses to the inherent complexities of life: psychosis, narcissism, and nothingness. These divergent approaches reflect the diverse strategies individuals employ to grapple with the unpredictability, insignificance, and existential challenges that define human existence. Psychosis, as a state of severe mental disturbance, offers a retreat from reality into a realm of delusions and distorted perceptions. In this altered state of consciousness, individuals construct elaborate narratives that shield them from the harshness of existence. Psychosis provides solace in its ability to shape an alternative reality that aligns with personal desires and beliefs. However, this detachment from reality carries the risk of disconnecting individuals from the shared human experience and fostering isolation. In contrast, narcissism presents a distinct response to the profound uncertainties of life. Rooted in an excessive preoccupation with self-importance, narcissism fosters a grandiose sense of self that seeks validation and admiration from others. The narcissist, fueled by an insatiable desire for attention and recognition, navigates life as a self-appointed deity. This distorted self-perception intertwines with religion, allowing the narcissist to exploit spiritual frameworks for personal gain and self-aggrandizement. However, the narcissistic path perpetuates a cycle of delusion, manipulation, and the subjugation of others to serve their insatiable ego. Amidst these divergent paths, an alternative way of being emerges: nothingness. Embracing nothingness involves confronting the arbitrary and fleeting nature of existence, relinquishing attachments to external constructs, and accepting the inherent meaninglessness of life. By detaching from the illusions of significance and surrendering to the unpredictability of reality, individuals embark on a transformative journey towards genuine liberation. This path demands resilience, introspection, and an unwavering commitment to embracing the present moment, free from the constraints of self-deception. In this essay, we delve into the three ways of being: psychosis, narcissism, and nothingness, and their implications for human existence. By examining the intricacies of these approaches, we aim to shed light on the diverse strategies individuals employ to grapple with the complexities of life. Through this exploration, we gain insight into the human condition, the quest for meaning, and the potential for profound transformation. Existence presents us with three potential ways of coping, as articulated by Sam Vaknin. The first is psychosis, the second is narcissism, and the third is what Jordan Peterson mistakenly labels nihilism. However, the term nihilism is inadequate to capture Peterson's intended meaning. Instead, he was referring to nothingness, psychosis, and narcissism. Psychosis occurs when we generate internal constructs and mistakenly perceive them as external entities. We invent the concept of a higher power and delude ourselves into believing in its existence. Similarly, we create and sacrifice for nation-states, adopting beliefs and values that we defend with bloodshed. We plant flags on desolate islands, resulting in the loss of countless lives. Psychosis arises when we blur the lines between our internal world and external reality, mistaking our thoughts and creations for tangible entities. It represents an extreme form of magical thinking and identity diffusion, where one sense of self encompasses the entire world, akin to a baby unable to differentiate itself from its surroundings. The psychotic individual lacks introspection and instead externalizes and objectifies themselves, observing their own being from a detached perspective. Engaging in faith, defending one's country, or sacrificing for personal beliefs involves the same confusion of internal constructs with external reality. A higher power and the nation-state are not tangible entities, but mere inventions. A flag is nothing more than a piece of fabric, and beliefs and values are subjective constructs that depend on culture, time period, and society. Anything that relies on external factors for its existence cannot be considered real. Individuals or collectives invent beliefs and values, treating them as though they possess an independent existence. It is undeniable that fictitious characters like a higher power exert a significant influence on human affairs. Countless individuals have died in the name of faith and a higher power. Practiced faith, therefore, possesses a certain reality in terms of its observable effects. Psychosis occurs when internal constructs, such as fictitious characters, belief systems, and value systems, assume an external and objective existence within our minds, subsequently influencing our thoughts and behaviors. This definition aptly characterizes psychosis, and the majority of humanity adheres to this coping mechanism. Facing existence without any of these coping mechanisms would likely lead to madness. To believe in a higher power or substitute one's mental illness with a delusional disorder is to avoid confronting the stark reality of the universe, which is cold, impersonal, and overwhelming. Instead of succumbing to the madness of staring into the void, people choose alternative forms of madness. They believe in ancient or recently invented constructs, be it love, relationships, friendships, patriotism, flags, or football clubs. These are all fictions, narratives, or movies, but they serve as preferable alternatives to many. Psychosis does not necessarily entail a belief in a higher power or practiced faith. It can manifest in secular faiths, ideologies, or belief systems, including those espoused by Jordan Peterson. It encompasses any system of thought, intellectual pursuit, or fiction that individuals perceive as having a separate, objective existence, counter to the facts. These constructs ultimately shape one's life, decisions, choices, moods, emotions, and interpersonal relationships. Hence, psychosis represents an entirely irrational solution. The majority of humanity falls into the categories previously described. Feeble-minded, weak in character, anxious, phobic, or average individuals who lack the tools to confront the reality of their existence in a universe that remains indifferent to their presence. Consequently, they invariably choose psychosis as their coping mechanism. It is crucial to note that psychosis does not necessarily involve a belief in a higher power or practiced faith, but can manifest in various forms, such as secular faiths, ideologies, or intellectual pursuits. These delusions acquire an independent, objective existence in individuals' minds, significantly influencing their lives. Another group of people choose the second solution: narcissism. Psychosis is the belief that perhaps I alone am without meaning. However, when I integrate myself into something larger than myself, I find meaning through this sense of belonging and integration. By becoming part of a higher power, I acquire its meaning, purpose, plan, and goals. Through faith and belief, I become an agent of the higher power. Similarly, when I become a part of a nation-state, assuming the role of a citizen, the state grants me significance and meaning. Psychosis entails the conflation and confusion of one's inner world, inner landscape, and psychodynamics with an external entity that surpasses oneself. It is a codependent solution. The second group of people opts for a narcissistic solution. They assert that the source of meaning resides within themselves. They believe, I determine what is meaningful. I am the meaning. I am the significance. I am the source of everything that makes sense. This perspective reflects a Cartesian approach. I think, therefore I am. It is the only certainty in the universe, and since meaning and significance rely on certainty, deriving meaning from anything shifting, kaleidoscopic, or inherently meaningless becomes impossible. As the only certainty is one's own existence, the individual becomes the meaning and significance. Without them, the entire universe would be meaningless. Their mere existence bestows meaning upon it. This is narcissism. One could even argue that narcissism is a variant of existentialism, as it attempts to merge the two. It strives to create a fusion of psychotic narcissism by combining narcissism with practiced faith. However, this synthesis did not prove successful for Nietzsche personally or for subsequent followers. Although Nietzsche came closer to the mark than other existentialists, there is an entire school of existentialist psychology that leverages and builds upon these insights. To summarize, psychosis involves inventing something external that provides meaning and significance. What is invented becomes separate and distinct from the individual, assuming an independent existence. Narcissism, on the other hand, does not externalize internal objects. The narcissist becomes the object themselves. They are the source of meaning. They invent a false self, akin to a higher power, but ultimately merge with it. The narcissist becomes their own higher power, and narcissism can be seen as a private faith. This then is the second solution. And the third solution is only for the strong-minded, not for the faint of heart. It requires an immense amount of strength to accept that one is nothing. The universe is devoid of meaning, and the world holds no significance. It originated from nowhere and is heading towards no destination. There is no overarching purpose, plan, or cause and effect. Embracing this nothingness, accepting one's own insignificance within it, demands extraordinary resources of resilience and fortitude. Only a very select few individuals have attained this enlightened state. For accepting this nothingness is to achieve enlightenment. Some people mistakenly believe that accepting nothingness means suppressing the ego. However, Narcissists have no ego. If one seeks to suppress the ego, they actually become narcissistic. Narcissism is the only category of individuals who lack an ego. Many so-called gurus, mystics, and con artists, especially in the realm of Indian spirituality, exhibit narcissistic traits. The act of merely suppressing the ego is insufficient. One must also suppress the world and their existence within it. One must cease to be. Nothingness is a solution that involves suspending and ultimately eradicating one's being and existence. It is anti-existentialism, distinct from nihilism, as Jordan Peterson repeatedly mislabels it. It is closer to the concept of nirvana in Eastern mysticism or religions, where one dissolves and ceases to exist in any form. However, this solution is weak. It is the solution adopted by devout individuals who disappear and reappear, integrating themselves into a supreme power. In programs like the 12 Steps for Alcoholics and others, the first step is to accept the existence of a higher power. It is a means of suspending oneself, but also accepting the authority of a higher power. Yet, this is a cop-out, a narcissistic cop-out. By becoming a part of God, one transitions from being finite and mortal to being infinite, omnipotent, and omniscient. It is a profoundly narcissistic perspective. In this sense, many faiths are grandiose and narcissistic, proclaiming that God is everywhere, inside oneself. Nothingness, on the other hand, is the solution for the strong-minded. Those who can confront the emptiness without resorting to destruction, nihilism, or anarchism. Not being is not about destruction. It is not about negating existence. To destroy is still an existential act. Rather, not being entails the acceptance of a meaningless, arbitrary, and capricious nothingness that constitutes the universe. However, the very demand to accept this contradiction is outrageous and contradictory in itself. By asking one to accept, I presuppose the existence of an individual who can accept. Thus, only the strongest, most resilient, and truly enlightened individuals can accept that they are not even in a position to accept nothingness. Narcissism, then, represents the second solution. To summarize, psychosis involves externalizing an internal object and believing in its existence outside oneself. Then, there is narcissism, which is a solution for those who perceive themselves as the source of meaning and significance. And finally, there is the solution of nothingness, which requires an exceptional strength of mind to accept. And there is the notion of vanishing, disappearance, or nothingness, a solution only accessible to those who possess strength, enlightenment, and resilience. These individuals must accept that they lack the capacity to make any decisions, including the decision to embrace nothingness. They understand that they are not decision makers, but rather recipients of decisions. This role is entirely passive, not fatalistic, but elevated to a state of nothingness. It is crucial to acknowledge that there has always been an intrinsic connection between narcissism and suffering. Peterson and others have followed in the footsteps of Dostoevsky and existentialists by discussing suffering and angst. While Peterson employs the devoutly laden term suffering, narcissists experience epiphany without enduring any genuine suffering. One might question this assertion, arguing that narcissistic injury and mortification involve suffering. However, injuries and wounds, be they psychological or physical, do not constitute suffering. For instance, an amputee soldier might be the happiest person on earth, having contributed to a victorious battle. Similarly, a mother who sacrifices her child for the nation may feel immense pride. Injuries and wounds may cause distress, but they do not encompass true suffering. Even losing a child, as painful as it is a profound loss, rather than suffering. Suffering, in its profound sense, is exclusively a human experience. It emerges through empathy and emotions. Suffering is the inevitable result of emotions coupled with empathy. One cannot experience suffering without possessing both empathy and emotions. To suffer is to introspectively label the experience of empathy and emotions. When empathy is present, one is inundated with pain. Having empathy opens a gateway to the pain of others, inevitably leading to being overwhelmed. Of course, individuals have defense mechanisms to cope with this flood of pain. Everyone employs such defenses to avoid being consumed by the endless screams, tremendous agony, and hurt. It is not possible to absorb all the information from the environment or to absorb all the pain. Although individuals may filter out around 95% of environmental information and pain, empathy serves as a gateway to the pain of others. However, pain alone would be meaningless without emotions. Pain triggers emotional responses within oneself. This is why we use the term trigger, as triggers activate emotions. Some argue that emotions are merely empathic reactions. In other words, all emotions are empathic reactions that arise when we integrate into the intersubjective web of pain. This integration with the network of pain is what we identify as emotions. Love serves as an attempt to counteract this pain. However, love would not exist without the presence of pain. To counter something, one must first experience it. Love becomes a desperate endeavor to counter the pain of loneliness, hatred, or any other emotion, all interconnected with empathy and pain. Narcissists exhibit a form of cognitive and reflexive empathy, known as cold empathy. This type of empathy is rather animalistic, akin to that of tigers or lions. One might not be surprised to discover that viruses possess cold empathy with the cells they invade. Cold empathy has no connection to emotional empathy. Narcissists lack emotional empathy and do not experience the pain of others. They do not resonate with the network of pain described in Eastern practices as Indra's net. In this metaphorical net, picking up one bead causes all the other beads to coalesce and merge. Narcissists and psychopaths are mere observers within this net, not actual beads. Therefore, they remain unaffected by the ripple effects of others' existence. They do not experience existence itself. Healthy individuals, on the other hand, perceive existence through the lens of others. This collective perception explains why people struggle with their mental well-being during periods of social distancing, self-isolation, or solitary confinement in prisons. Complete isolation from others, such as in deprivation tanks, leads to a sense of ceasing to exist. Our very existence relies on the kaleidoscope of reflections that emerge from our interactions with others. In this sense, we possess a shared consciousness, a hive mind. The distinction between a narcissist and a mentally healthy individual lies in the presence of a core within the latter. This core integrates the various inputs into a coherent experience of existence. In contrast, the narcissist remains fragmented, akin to shards of glass or a hall of mirrors. Narcissists and psychopaths do not truly exist. And if one does not exist, it follows that suffering is absent as well. When one lacks existence and does not suffer, it raises questions about their humanity. It comes as no surprise, therefore, that narcissists regard themselves not as humans, but as a higher power. Paranoia can be viewed as a manifestation of narcissism. The narcissist perceives a larger enemy as a confirmation of their importance and significance. In their distorted world, even a higher power becomes an object of their inverted narcissism. The narcissist forms a personal relationship with a higher power, believing that their proximity to this overpowering entity elevates their own status. They see themselves as an extension of a higher power, a divine presence on earth. This delusion of grandeur fuels their sense of self-importance. Narcissists often exhibit magical thinking, considering themselves chosen or destined for greatness. They believe they have a direct connection to a higher power, even perceiving divine intervention in their lives. This belief in a special bond with a higher power feeds their narcissistic supply. As they feel unique and favored, they see themselves as the center of the divine's attention and care. Practiced faith provides a framework for the narcissist to enhance their grandiosity. Belonging to a devout institution allows them to feel exceptional, as part of a collective identity. The narcissist derives narcissistic supply from the admiration, attention, and adulation of fellow members. They leverage the power of the group, considering themselves the most devout and radical adherent. Their affiliation with the group is primarily a means of self-aggrandizement. The narcissist's relationship with the divine mirrors their relationship with other authority figures. They go through cycles of idealization and devaluation, often feeling disappointed when their idols prove fallible. In extreme cases, they may even wish to destroy the group as a form of punishment for failing to meet their emotional needs. The narcissist's loyalty to the group is secondary to their own survival and self-interest. The narcissist's perception of themselves as a microcosm of the group leads them to assume roles and positions typically reserved for collective entities. They believe they embody the values, history, and purpose of the group. Their identity becomes intertwined with the group, blurring the boundaries between self and collective. They may claim to represent and radiate the group's essence, whether it be a nation, a race, or a faith ideology. However, the narcissist's attachment to reality is tenuous. They can easily detach themselves from it and enter a state of nothingness. In this state, they recognize the futility of seeking meaning or significance in external constructs. The narcissist is uniquely positioned to embrace nothingness, as they are already detached from reality and devoid of true empathy or emotional connection. Choosing nothingness is an act of surrender and acceptance. It is a recognition of the arbitrary nature of reality and the inherent meaninglessness of existence. This path requires immense strength and resilience, as it entails facing the finite and insignificant nature of one's own life. It is a test of humanity to survive without deceiving oneself or clinging to false beliefs. The adoption of rules, commandments, and value systems can be seen as a form of self-deception. These constructs offer temporary solace and happiness, but ultimately lead to disillusionment and disappointment. Delusions have expiration dates, as cult members often discover when they confront reality. Embracing nothingness requires breaking free from the chains of delusion and accepting the unpredictable and arbitrary nature of reality. In the end, the choice between psychosis, narcissism, and nothingness is a profound crossroads. The path of nothingness challenges our very existence and demands resilience in the face of the inherent meaninglessness of life. Perhaps in this journey towards enlightenment, we will transition from narcissism to true liberation, freeing ourselves from the illusions and delusions that bind us. Only by embracing nothingness can we truly discover the essence of freedom. Paranoia can be seen as a manifestation of narcissism, where the narcissist perceives a larger enemy as an affirmation of their importance and significance. This distorted worldview extends to their relationship with a higher power, whom they view as a personal source of supply. However, religion serves as a framework that enhances their grandiosity, providing a sense of belonging and a platform for self-aggrandizement. Narcissists exhibit magical thinking, believing they are chosen or destined for greatness. They establish a direct line to a higher power and perceive divine intervention in their lives. This connection serves as a constant source of narcissistic supply, reinforcing their uniqueness and entitlement. Belonging to a practiced faith institution allows narcissists to feel exceptional within the collective identity. They derive narcissistic supply from the admiration and attention of fellow members. The group becomes a means to amplify their grandiosity, and their loyalty to the group is secondary to their own self-interest. Narcissists view themselves as a microcosm of the group, embodying its values, history, and purpose. They assume roles and positions usually reserved for collective entities. Their identity becomes intertwined with the group, blurring the boundaries between self and collective. Their self-worth relies heavily on their affiliation with the group. Despite their attachment to the group, narcissists have a fragile connection to reality. They can easily detach themselves and embrace a state of nothingness. This state involves accepting the arbitrary and meaningless nature of reality, freeing oneself from the need for external constructs and false beliefs. Choosing nothingness requires immense strength and resilience. It involves confronting the finite and insignificant nature of one's own existence. By relinquishing self-deception and accepting the unpredictable nature of reality, individuals can embark on a path of true liberation. In conclusion, the paradox of narcissism lies in its propensity for both self-aggrandizement and detachment from reality. Narcissists perceive themselves as divine and seek validation from external sources, including devout institutions. However, the path to true liberation lies in embracing nothingness, accepting the arbitrary nature of existence, and freeing oneself from the illusions and delusions that bind us. It is through this journey that individuals can discover the essence of freedom and find solace in the inherent meaninglessness of life. In the journey of self-discovery, we have explored three distinct ways of being: psychosis, narcissism, and nothingness. Each path presents its own set of illusions and coping mechanisms, shaping our perception of reality. As we conclude this exploration, I invite you to consider the path of nothingness, a choice that offers liberation from the confines of constructed narratives and self-centeredness. Psychosis, with its detachment from reality, provides a temporary escape from life's uncertainties. However, it risks isolating us from the shared human experience and blurring the boundaries between truth and imagination. Narcissism, on the other hand, tempts us with the allure of grandiosity and belonging, but at the cost of exploiting others and distorting our perception of reality. Amidst these paths, nothingness offers solace and acceptance. Embracing nothingness means acknowledging the transient nature of our existence and surrendering the illusions of control and certainty. It is not nihilism or despair, but a liberation from the burdens of constructing narratives and seeking external validation. In the void of nothingness, we find freedom. We can embrace the simplicity of being, unencumbered by the constant pursuit of significance. By relinquishing the need for grandiose delusions, we tap into our innate capacity for empathy, compassion, and connection. Choosing nothingness leads us on a path of self-awareness, confronting our fears and insecurities without the need for false narratives. Embracing nothingness does not negate life's wonders and joys. Instead, it allows us to fully appreciate the beauty and transient nature of every experience. It sets us free to engage authentically with the world, unburdened by self-centeredness and fabricated meanings. The choice is yours to make in this vast universe. Will you succumb to illusions or seek validation through narcissism? Or will you embrace the liberation of nothingness? Remember that true meaning is found in accepting our insignificance and connecting with a shared human experience. Choose nothingness. Embark on a journey of self-discovery that transcends ego, and gain a deeper understanding of what it means to be human.